Hi, I'm Gretchen. I'm a junior at High Point, and I'm really passionate about art. So I don't remember like the very first time I started drawing or like was into art, but I've always been very creative since I was able to pick up a pencil. I'd always like scribble things down or like draw random things that I saw. It's also just like a really good stress reliever. Like if I'm stressed out about something or I have nothing else to do, I'll just like look something up online and draw it, or like just draw something from imagination. So I'm in Fine Art 3 honors, and I've previously taken Fine Art 1 and Fine Art 2 my freshman and sophomore year. I've also taken Architecture 1 and Architecture 2, and I'm in Arch 3 right now, and I plan on being an interior designer or architect in college. And next year I plan to take AP Portfolio art and maybe even sculpture class. Okay, my favorite art class is Fine Art 3, what I'm in now, with Mrs. Myers, and I have a lot of fun in that class because we definitely get a bunch of new, different projects that we have to do that I would have never thought to like do myself, like different types of portraits and different types of mediums that we work on that I'm not really used to, so it's really fun to try out the new things and new different types of like art supplies that I've never really tried before. I'm in the National Art Honor Society, and besides like my passion for art, I just like hanging out with my friends, listening to music. I play volleyball. I'm on the girls volleyball team. I'm a setter.
Hello, I'm Helena, and I have been in multiple art classes with Gretchen. Gretchen's artwork is full of depth and full of character. From what I see, she uses hard lines as well as soft lines mixed together to make it look like the painting or drawing is coming to life. In most of her drawings, you feel like you could almost jump into them or take something out of the piece. She really adds her own character to every single artwork that she makes.
Hey, I'm Esther, and I've been with Gretchen in art since freshman year with Fine Art 1, and now we're in Fine Art 3 going on AP Studio Art next year. All I can say about Gretchen is she's always held like a presence in the art room, and she's always made people laugh with her commentary, and she makes even the toughest day fun in that classroom, even now when we're all virtual. And as far as her artwork goes, she always astounds everyone with her pieces.
Okay, so this is a picture of two Converse shoes that I had. We had to pick just like a random object in our house and take a picture of it at a certain angle with like different lighting techniques. And I like kind of took this under my bed with the shoes sticking out and on top of each other, so it was like at a cool angle. And we had to pick a certain technique to use for the whole thing. We couldn't like switch back and forth. So I chose stippling, which is just a bunch of like dots everywhere, and you can like be lighter with them on like the lighter areas and then like heavily place them in the darker areas to like show shadow and contrast. This definitely was my longest piece and my favorite piece because it's the most realistic, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I've definitely never done something like this before, so it was really fun to try everything out. This piece was also nominated for the Teen Arts Festival, and it got an award. After taking this picture, we had to put a dramatic filter on it, so it really like contrasted with colors, and it had to like use colors that wasn't in the original photo, so more vibrant in my case. Like the door isn't actually pink, it was probably like a cream color, and my jeans are definitely more vibrant with the blue and like the purple in there. So this piece was definitely my hardest piece because it took me so long to make, and I'm awful at using acrylics, so it definitely took me much longer than the rest, and I got a lot of practice in with using acrylics, especially with like the blending on the stairs and in the jeans. And this is something like I've never done before. I would have never thought to like paint something like this, so it was really cool to get this prompt in art class and try it out. I think I did pretty good on it. Another self-portrait that we had to do this year in art class Unlike the shoe stippling drawing that I did before, we had to use 2 other types of techniques. So I used this, it's called hatching, where it's just small little lines. They can either be curved, like in my sleeve right here, or just like little hatch marks that are like straight and short, or they can be really long and drawn out. And then I also use this, which is called scribbling, which is pretty self-explanatory. Normally just in kind of like little circles all around. I use that for the background and for the shadows in the light here. So the prompt was obviously just a self-portrait of yourself in another use of dramatic lighting. So I actually used a colander that had little holes on the bottom, and the whole thing was basically in the shape of a star, and I held that in front of a flashlight on my phone, and that got the different like lighting on my face and in the background on my ceiling. And this was definitely another one of my longest pieces. I would have to say it's kind of like my least favorite piece that I've done, at least this year, the biggest piece that I've done, but that's only because I'm not really happy with the shadowing like on my face. I feel like I could have done it better. Around my eyes, it's definitely much darker than how it was in the picture. I could have like lightened that up a little bit more. But other than that, I'm really happy with how the sleeve turned out and the hair and my glasses. Okay, so this is one of the most like the fun and interesting pieces that I've done. We did this last year in Fine Art 2 class. We had to pick like an animal and then draw it with like half the animal and half it being like geometric shapes. So I chose a hummingbird with a flower, and I did half the flower with like small geometric triangles and squares, and then half the hummingbird with the same format. And then once we had it all figured out and traced down, we had to take a piece of tracing paper, and we had to trace what we had originally drawn in our sketchbook onto the tracing paper. And then we got a piece of linoleum, which is just the medium that this is. It's like a bendy type of board that we put the tracing paper on, and because it is tracing paper, the pencil just lifted off of it and went onto the linoleum medium. So then once I had the outline on here, I just carved out the linoleum so it turned into like a stamp, and then we rolled on ink that we had in class and then put it onto another piece of paper, and then put watercolor over the finished stamp on the paper to like really bring out the color and kind of make it like our own unique piece. So I'm Gretchen. Thank you for taking a look at all my artwork and listening to my story.